Well, praise the Lord. I'm Pastor Inman, and you're now listening to the Word of Deliverance. I want to thank you for tuning into our program, and we got something great for you today. Melanie, I know that the faith of people now is under attack, and I believe there's a new paradigm. Now, a lot of people don't understand that word, but paradigm is the way you see things. They want you to see things as different. I believe there's many people today that go to church that aren't even born again. I want you to tell us, Melanie, why our faith is so important.
Because our faith is what's going to stand at the end of the day. You know, we see that faith is a product of the Spirit, and we see that through Christ Jesus and His eternal Spirit, we inherit faith. And our faith is going to basically abide forever because the Spirit abideth forever. And I like to share a little story if I have time. I was talking with this lady today, and she was telling me about how she believes in the Bible, but she's preparing her 50 pounds of rice and preparing for her beans and preparing for this and preparing for that. And I asked her a question. I said, what about your faith? What about if you have to run? She was talking about having to run in the wilderness and hide out. And I said, what about if you have to run? How would you carry your 50 pounds of rice? She said, I would just have a plan, and I would dig it out there in the ground, and I'd just go near the national park, and that's where I'd stay, and that's where I hide out. And I said, what about your faith? What about trusting in God? I'm not saying don't plan for the future, but I said at the end of the day, where's your faith? I said, if God is a miracle worker, and God is our provider, and God knows how to spread the table before us in the wilderness, then what shall we worry about? She says, I know about the ravens and how God feeds the ravens. I said, she doesn't even know about her scriptures. You know, it's so important that we understand that there's going to come a time where money fails. There's going to come a time where our faith is going to be tried. And I believe that faith, my opinion, is one of the most important aspects of every born-again believer.
Okay, Melanie, in the Bible we have what we call 42 months, 3.5 years, or 1,260 days. All of these terms go all the way back. You can look at like 2 Kings chapter 2, where you see the 42 children for the 42 months. You can go back to the book of Daniel, and you can find 1,260 days. You can go into Daniel chapter 3, and you find 1,260 days. You find this in Revelations chapter 11, chapter 12. You find it there is so evident. Let's talk about the last 3.5 years in the book of Revelations, meaning the 42 months. I used to think that we had 7 years of tribulation, and we do. But I want to bring it out today why the 3.5 years, the beginning of it, is so ambiguous. And let's disambiguate, if you want to use that word. Let's tell the people the truth. How does the 7 years start out, Michelle, and where does it start out at?
Well, it starts out in peace in Daniel chapter 9, verse 25, where they make a covenant.
Okay, so you're telling us the tribulation period starts with peace?
Yes.
Give us a little more feedback on that. People need to hear this.
Daniel 8:25 talks about how by peace he shall destroy many. And it talks about in 1 Thessalonians 5:3, when you hear peace and safety, then cometh sudden destruction.
So we have a whole tribulation period here, which Daniel says in Daniel 12, verse 1, there'll never be another day like this day.
Yes.
It's going to be so terrible. Jesus said in Matthew 24, except those days be shortened, there'll be no flesh saved.
Amen.
So our faith, Melanie, what you're talking about is so important. I would not want to be here. In 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 9, God didn't call us to wrath. But we're seeing that peace is going to start with sudden destruction. Tell us, Mark, what about Donald Trump signing his peace treaty with Israel? Is that possible?
Well, if you look at the signs and what it says in the Bible, it's very well possible that if he signs this peace treaty, we can see the beginning of things start to take place. Because if you even read in Revelation chapter 6, verse 1 and 2, and Jesus, he opened the book and it says, the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard as it were the noise of thunder, one of 4 beasts saying, come and see. And I saw and behold a white horse, and this is peace, and that set on him a bow and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer.
Okay, this is the man probably that signs the peace treaty in Daniel 9, verse 27, in the middle of the week. Tell us, Melanie, what does the middle of the week mean in Daniel 9:27? I believe it's 7 years. What do you think about that?
I believe the middle of the week is the end of the first 3.5 years and the beginning of the last 3.5 years.
So that's when they're going to break the peace treaty.
Yes.
So we know that Israel is never going to break. They're never going to have be able to free Palestine. We know that. They're never going to set them people free, and there's never going to be peace there. Not totally. But anyway, let's bring it out a little bit here. If our faith is so important, we find that people have no idea what is really going to happen. And I believe that we're seeing this last 42 months will take place in the middle of this 3.5 years. But, you know, Brother Mark, this chapter 6, like you said, it brings out a lot of stuff in Revelations. It actually talks about Hebrews verse 12, verses 27, 28, when the Apostle Paul said, all that can be shaken, will be shaken, that it might be removed. And he's talking about the strongholds that they have over this country today in financial things, and the people that's in political places that you can't get them out. There's nobody else can run for president. They don't have the money. They got a hole in media. They want to charge you $500 million, $400 or $500 million to run for president, and that way they get to run for president who they want to run for it. Nobody else is going to run for president, and you have to be in their little family to run, right? Okay, go ahead, Michelle.
I just want to say, we were talking about how important our faith is going to be in these last days. We know in the book of Hebrews chapter 11, everyone in this book did their works by faith. And in Hebrews chapter 10, verse 38, it says, now the just shall live by faith. But if any man draw back, my soul have no pleasure in him. So if we're living by faith, then if we're living by faith, then if you're in these last days, when everything starts breaking, hell breaks loose, guess what? You'll have your faith in Jesus Christ, and you'll end up making the rapture.
Well, I think there's a lot of people here today that don't understand the idea of the little people. I recently I loaded a video to YouTube called the poor little people, and the rich people. The poor rich people, that's what I call it, the poor rich people. I think it was a really powerful program. It reveals things that people are not aware of. Everybody today wants to make money off of the little people. They want to overtax us. They want to overcharge us. The taxes are going up all the time on the land. The food prices are going up here. They're going up there. And it ain't even good food.
Right.
They got a lot of this trash food with GMO in it. It's got weed killer in our corn now. How would you like to have a dozen ears of real nice weed killer corn, Mark, or should we call it weed killer? What do you think we should call the corn today?
Well,
I know what we call it, frankencorn.
Well, that's a good one, frankencorn. So, the whole point, and as pastor is very, serious too, because a lot of people eat these things and do these things ignorantly, and they don't even know about it. But if you have faith, God could deliver you from different things. In Hebrews 11:6 says, but without faith it's impossible to please him. So you got to have faith in these last days. As Pastor said, we're dealing with food that is poison. We're dealing with air that is poison. We're dealing with water that is poison.
You weren't supposed to tell them about the airplane that's spraying all over America. You mean that's poison too?
We got to tell them. It's poison.
Okay, go ahead.
I said it is absolutely poison. That's what they're spraying. They call it chemtrails, and they're spraying it over the population, but you're not supposed to speak of these things.
You're not supposed to say it, or if you do, you'll be a cryptomaniac.
Yeah, you'll be crazy, all right.
All right, Michelle, tell us.
Amen. I believe that, and also these people, that's why it talks about and how God is going to bring judgment upon these people that have did this to the poor. And you'll find in Isaiah chapter 2 where all their money and wealth that they have accumulated is going to be a witness against them, and they're going to take it to the moles and to the bats, and they're going to take it into these caves, and they're going to say, God, let's hide from them, or let's hide from the face of God.
So what you're saying is their money's not going to deliver.
No, it can't.
But you look in Amos chapter 8, and you find something about the ephod, and you find something, Melanie, about the shekel. I want you to bring it out to the people, because I tried to buy a gallon of Clorox. They got it all the way up to $2.75. A couple years back, it was 99 cents a gallon.
Mm-hmm.
You could buy it up here, Big Lots, for 99 cents a gallon.
Yes.
What has happened to it? I mean, we've lost all the factories out of this country. We lost, Donald Trump said 72,000 factories. I know that everybody's lost their jobs. You know, we're having to pay this for Obamacare. They've got the little man out of business, and they come in with Walmart to take the little mom and pop shops and put them out of business. Tell us about this ephod and this shekel. What is all that about?
Well, it's the way of them taking advantage, so to say. For example, they raise the price of something but give you a minute amount of the actual product.
So they're making like a 16-ounce something come out to 12 or 13 or 14?
Yes, probably even less than that. I mean, some people say you open up your bag of frozen vegetables and there's not even half a bag in there.
Look
And
at I seen a bag of potato chips the other day.
Yes.
It's $1.99. You don't, wait a minute, where's potato chips?
Where's the chips? Yeah. And, just to show in this Amos 8:5, to show how they even make merchandise, I say, of the church, how they even was following, when will the new moon be, that we may sell the corn, and the Sabbath, that we may set forth wheat, making the ephah small and the shekel great, and falsifying the balances by deceit. And some people say, think about it, they even used the church of God to make it as a merchandise. Some people may say even the prayer shawls. Think about it, how they use these, I don't want to say rituals, or use these feasts, or use these different things to make money off of, but yet they want to say, oh, it's of God. I always feel like these people put a price tag on everything because they're so avaricious for money.
So their money is so money hungry. Make it real plain to the people, Michelle, and tell us about this ephod and this real, shekel. What's the bread? The ephod is the bread. We know that.
Uh-huh.
So what are they making, the loaves of bread smaller here or what?
Yes, they're making it actually way smaller than what it was.
I know they're not as long as they used to be when I was a kid.
Right, and then the shekel, they're raising the price of the bread, but lowering shortening the bread.
Well, that's exactly what they're doing. So it's all about making money.
Yes.
They want to raise up the money and lower the quantity of something you get. Mark, Revelations chapter 6, it talks about the rider riding the black horse, and he has the scales in his hands. He said, a measure of wheat for a penny, 3 measures of barley for a penny, but see thou hurt not the oil in the wine. There's a lot of people here that's not going to make the rapture. What's going to happen to them? It says in Revelation 6:8 that there's going to be famine and a sword.
That's right. And he says, and I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death. And hell followed with him, and power was given unto him over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. So this is very serious, people. These are things that are going to follow these people that do not accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, nor has genuine faith.
Okay, I don't believe people can trust the idea of Donald Trump. I don't care if his wife is a stripper. They got her in all these magazines over in England. It don't matter to me. Everybody knows that you ain't got no gambling casino man as teaching Sunday school. Amen?
That's correct.
So this is kind of where we're at today. I believe when he gets up and tells everybody yes, I'm dedicated to Israel. Oh, we're going to help Israel. Well, you know what? They didn't stop any of these things when he got elected. And I think that we're not going to see anything stopped. And anybody believes that they're going to do something for this country is crazy. You've got to be out of your mind. They've not done anything but take our country down. Everybody is out after us to charge us more taxes, to try to keep us unhealthy so we can't fight and get our minds together. This is a really terrible time in which we're living. My name is Pastor Inman. If you'd like to write to us, you can do that. You spell my name Inman. Location 518 Pleasant Valley Avenue, Dayton, Ohio 45404. I hope you've enjoyed our program a little bit today. We haven't talked about the 7 heads and the 10 horns, but I think you need to know that. Remember, your faith is the most important thing in your life. I believe fasting and prayer and Bible study is something that can cause you to escape all of these things that we talked about. There is hard times coming. Have your faith in Jesus Christ and don't have it in a bunch of money preachers that tell you giving them money is going to bless you. That's nothing but a lie. I'm Pastor Inman, and all your faith is consisting of is your relationship with Jesus Christ and the Word of God. You've been listening to the Word of Deliverance. Have a great day.